What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the JuiceBox presented by LOCKCITY. It's Whitey here today. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's still having a good week. We definitely had some weird results today that we will get into in a second. Today we have episode 167 of the JuiceBox, which will be, of course, a review of today's Blast Bounty picks, as well as some picks for the 4 matches tomorrow, Thursday, August the 7th, 2025, where we will still continue on with the round of 32 in the Blast Bounty Malta closed qualifier. So without further ado, we'll kind of just hop into it and take a look at what has happened so far today, results of today's parlays, and then what we are looking at for tomorrow. So Spirit and Passion UA still playing, and then we still, of course, have Astralis and Rare Atom up next. Like you can see here, we saw Spirit drop a map, unfortunately, to Passion UA. It was actually map number 1. But we took Spirit minus 1.5 map spread, and we did the same thing for Na'Vi, who also busted us here. So if these weren't two of the top teams in the world, like I said in the Discord, this feels like something sketchy's going on, where people are putting money on the other side potentially on like a 15x, but obviously not the case with it being Spirit and Na'Vi. But if these were some tier 3 type of teams, I might be questioning that. Nonetheless, we did see Spirit lose on Dust 2 by a score of 13-10. They ripped Mirage 13-3, and thus far they are ripping Ancient. And then same sort of idea with Na'Vi. Na'Vi played Team Next Level, or TNL, and they lost map 1 in overtime. They lost Ancient 16-14, and then came back, they ripped Nuke, and they ripped Mirage relatively cleanly. But unfortunately, we did have both of those teams minus 1.5 on the map spread. We did that as a 3-unit play here. And then we also added them with Virtus Pro, who I thought was going to be the sketchy pick, ended up actually being the safe pick. Today we did end up taking Virtus Pro minus 2.5 round spread on map 2 live in the Discord. We then took over 20.5 rounds for map 2 of TNL and Na'Vi. That ended up busting. It was only like 18 total rounds. And then we took Na'Vi minus 4.5 for map 3 because they were on a tear. And unfortunately they only won at 13-9. So they won by 4 and they hooked us here. So we dropped a couple of units today, about 5 units, but we're looking to bounce back tomorrow with some parlays here. We have 3 off to the side that we will talk about and get into. In terms of matches for tomorrow, obviously the same start times. So we're kicking off, if you're in Eastern time like myself, it's going to kick off at 6 a.m. Eastern. And then in terms of bounties for tomorrow, here is what we are looking like. So we have Big taking on FURIA. Big is the underdog. FURIA has a $30,000 bounty. We have OG taking on MOUZ. MOUZ is one of the top seeds, obviously one of the top teams in the world, but one of the top seeds in this tournament as well. So they have a $60,000 bounty. Ninjas and Pyjamas is taken on Pain. Pain has a $15,000 bounty, and then Fnatic and Legacy. Legacy has a $15,000 bounty with Fnatic as the underdog. So we'll take a look at what we have here, with the first one obviously being Big and FURIA at 6 a.m. Eastern time. Also, shout out to HLTV for adding in this allstar.gg plugin where you can watch round highlights from previous matches between the two teams. Really, really cool feature. Just noticed it today for the first time. Obviously, we're on here every day, and I was on here this morning. I didn't see it, but shout out them for adding that in later this morning or early this afternoon. It's a pretty cool feature. For this one, I am leaning FURIA. FURIA obviously has looked pretty good as of recently. They're in good form. I'm going to live vote them there as well. They're now up to, at least on HLTV, the 6th best team in the world. Big is just inside the top 30 at a 29th overall ranking. It looks like FURIA has the better map pool here, but Big does play weaker competition. FURIA has been playing like G2, MOUZ, so on and so forth. They have wins recently over Astralis twice. They have a win over G2, 2-0, clean slate. They have a win over Falcons, which was really impressive, 2-1. They did end up losing to MOUZ, number 2 team in the world, 2 maps to 1. And then on the Big side of things, when they do play top tier 2 to low tier 1, and then some of these top 10-ish teams in the world competition, they haven't been performing well. They lost to FaZe 2-0. They lost to Pain 2-1, and Pain hasn't looked great. They lost to BetBoom 2-1, which is fine. BetBoom, I like BetBoom personally. They lost to Complexity 2-1, which is not great. They did beat Heroic, which is fine. And then some of this going back here is like when they were on the national team. We'd have to go to team results here. Anyway, Big has not looked exceptional by any means. I do think FURIA wins this. They probably win it 2-0. but FURIA moneyline should be a super safe parlay piece. I don't know how I would feel in terms of overs and unders for rounds in this one. I would think that, I don't know what Big's going to take in terms of their map. Potentially Dust 2, but FURIA's got a really good Dust 2. Maybe Inferno if they're feeling comfortable on Inferno, and then on the FURIA side of things, it's obviously going to be either Nuke or Train. I would imagine they probably take Train, and I think that they handle that relatively cleanly. So I do lean FURIA 2-0, maybe a map 2 like FURIA and under 21.5 total rounds, but FURIA moneyline, definitely a safe parlay piece. Next one up at 8:30 a.m. is going to be OG and MOUZ. MOUZ, obviously one of the top teams in the world. They're coming off that grand final loss 3-0 to Team Spirit at IEM Cologne. They had a second loss to Team Spirit there at IEM Cologne as well. They had beaten Spirit a number of times prior to that, but Spirit had their number at Cologne. MOUZ had beaten Vitality, ended Vitality's BO3 win streak. MOUZ beat FURIA, MOUZ beat Na'Vi, MOUZ beat Liquid. They're obviously a great team. The only thing that could potentially be said against them here, I guess, is that they just played that grand final on Sunday. This is online, so the team's not, I don't know if they'll be playing in the same room for this one, if they'll get together as an org and play together, but usually they'll be separate for this online early stage in the tournament, especially with these bigger teams, because they feel pretty comfortable that they'll win here. But a quick turnaround time nonetheless. It was only 4 days ago that MOUZ lost to Spirit in the grand final, and now they have to come back, recoup, and face OG. Thankfully for them, it is OG. There's nothing here that OG should beat them on. Even Ancient, MOUZ should beat OG on Ancient. OG has a 50% win rate on Ancient, but they're losing to Na'Vi Jr., Namiga, Fnatic, M80, so on and so forth, and their wins aren't overly impressive either. And then on the MOUZ side of things, yeah, they have 4 losses, but it's FaZe, Legacy's a bad loss, and then Spirit twice, once in overtime, and the other time they pushed them all the way to 24 rounds. So MOUZ, again, should win this 2-0. Moneyline odds are horrible, but MOUZ should cruise in this one. And on their map pick, again, you should feel pretty comfortable with whatever they take. I would imagine it's probably going to be Train, Inferno, or Mirage, but I would lean Inferno or Train for MOUZ's pick, and I think they should rip on that if you want to take MOUZ like -4.5 even rounds on their pick, or MOUZ money line on their map pick, or whatever you're thinking for that. I think that's safe. They should take care of business there, and again, they should win 2-0. We shouldn't see anything wonky like we saw today. Next one up is going to be Ninjas in Pyjamas and Pain at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to vote NIP against my better judgment, but they should win this, to be honest. Pain does have a top 10 world ranking, but they have not looked good as of recent. Snow's been underperforming. I would say Big Azera has been underperforming. Davide, well, essentially the whole roster. They haven't looked cohesive necessarily. On the NIP side of things, they had a little bit of an impressive run. Was it at Fisher Playground, wherever they were, not that long ago. And then they've looked decent even here. This loss to Na'Vi, respectable. Loss to Aurora, respectable. Loss to Na'Vi Jr. is not. But since then, they beat Heroic, they beat 3D Max, they beat Heroic a secondary time. And then Pain is losing to beat Big, lost to Astralis, lost to Liquid, lost to 3D Max, lost to Linvision, beat Rare Atom, but not impressive wins there. That win over Big at 2-1, that should be cleaner if you're a top 10 team in the world. Give me Ninjas in Pyjamas here. I don't love it. I don't love NIP in general, but I do think they win this, and they probably win this 2-0. 2-1, though, is what I would think in terms of being realistic, but in terms of recent form and how these two teams have been playing, I would not be surprised at all by 2-0 NIP. Next one up, and the last one, is going to be Fnatic and Legacy, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This will be a good one. I think this will be relatively close. Probably see 3 maps here. Public consensus is on Legacy. I would have to agree on that. On the Fnatic side of things, 37th ranked in the world. They got Cypher, Crims, Fear, Jambo, and Blamef. And then on the Legacy side of things, Dumao, Lotto are obviously some of the key standouts here, and some of the bigger names. Legacy rips the Brazilian competition. They beat Imperial Sharks, Coloris, Imperial Sharks, so on and so forth. A lot of the time they just rotate these same sort of teams. Fnatic has played better competition. They played Ecstatic, they played Passion UA, they played Sashi, they played TNL, but they haven't beaten any of those teams. I do lean Legacy. maybe 2-0 here, but probably 2-1. I could see Fnatic winning Dust 2. I could see Fnatic winning Train, but I think every other map is in Legacy's favor. I think Legacy would probably dust them on anything else. So give me Legacy here on the money line. Pretty confident. I think Legacy probably wins their map pick. I feel pretty safe about that. So we'll move on and talk about some parlays. So without further ado, moving on over to Thunderpick. I'll show y'all what I placed here for tomorrow for the time being. So we got 3 plays. Each of them are going to be 1 unit. First one up here is going to be a little bit of a mess, but follow along with me on this one. Map 2, so presumably Furia's map pick, which should be their map pick. We're taking Furia minus 2.5. I do think they'll win 2-0, so regardless, it should be safe, but I'm 80% certain that this is going to be their map pick. MOUZ, presumably, again, their map pick, map 2. We're going to take minus 2.5 round spread. So we need them to win 13-10 or better. And same thing with Furia and Big, 13-10 or better. If it does go to overtime, if we see 12-12, we could still get a 16-12, 16-13. Like we saw with Virtus Pro today, we took Virtus Pro minus 2.5 round spread. They were actually down 2-10 at halftime. Came back, pushed it to overtime, and won 22-19 in overtime. So they still covered the 2.5 despite the map going into overtime. Then we're going to take Ninjas in Pyjamas, map 1 on the 1x2. It looks like pain for whatever reason when you zoom into it and go into maps here. Nip has the better odds on map 1 than they do on map 2, so for whatever reason, Thunderpick is thinking that that's going to be their map pick, even though they're the favorite here. So give me Nip there. I do think they probably 2-0 it. This might be something that if Nip doesn't get the first map, maybe look at cashing it out, but for the time being, something that I am going to be rocking with. And then the last leg on that first one is going to be Legacy map 2 on the money line, 1.68 times. So all of that together is going to be 1 unit to pay out 5 units. I feel really good about that one. Next one up is going to be a little bit more straightforward in terms of lines. There's no map 1, map 2 going on here. This one's just going to be Furia on the money line, MOUZ minus 1.5 map handicap or match handicap, so they have to win 2-0. Ninjas in Pyjamas on the money line and Legacy on the money line. I think that's super safe. That's going to be 1 unit to pay 3.56 units. And the last one, I think Furia 2-0 is big, so we're going to take Furia minus 1.5 map spread or match handicap, they call it on Thunderpick, and then Ninjas in Pyjamas just to win the match on the money line here. So the one thing that's consistent, we do need Nip to win the match on both of these two, and then we have Furia and then Furia minus 1.5. But if you don't feel great about Nip, please feel free to swap that out for anything else. I do understand that they're anchoring the 2 plays and it is Ninjas in Pyjamas. So if you don't feel great about them, please swap it out. But I do think they probably beat Pain. And then Legacy I feel good about. I feel good about each of these 3. I think we'll claw back a little bit of profit here going into tomorrow's slate to make up for the fact that we dropped a couple units here today. So looking forward to doing exactly that, bring y'all some cash tomorrow. Let me know how you feel about these plays, if you like them, if you hate them. Let me know what you are going to be playing in the comments. Give a like on the video, subscribe if you like what you're hearing, if you want this content to come and repeat. If there's other tournaments that you're looking at that you want videos for, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Definitely open to suggestions and recommendations. Only been doing the CS2 pods now for a couple of months, but with video now for a couple of weeks and going through the picks here like this in detail. So if you're liking this kind of approach to it, then please let me know what other tournaments that are coming up, obviously the big ones, but if there's any specific tournaments that you want me to make videos for, just let me know. If you're following along and if you're tailing, let me know, and then can definitely follow us on Twitter over in the left corner, and please join the Discord, discord.gg/LOCKCITY. If you haven't, completely free. Come join us, talk to us in CS2 chat as we are cooking up plays throughout the day. I'll be posting plays on my Whitey channel. It's a ton of fun. Come join us over there. Well, today wasn't a ton of fun with Spirit and Navi choking the first maps, but usually it's a ton of fun in there. So come check us out. Look forward to having you in there. Hope everyone has a great day and see you tomorrow. Peace.